So it's been a few months since I posted part one of my magnetic loop or small transmitting loop antenna series, and I had intended to practically be done with that series by now. But kind of what's happened is I've had a little bit of a change in what I want to do. So I've had this system that I've been using almost exclusively on HF, where I've had this this motor here, and it's been driving the variable capacitor, the vacuum variable capacitor, to tune the antenna, and then I use an antenna analyzer basically to check whether or not I'm tuned at the right frequency so that I can transmit. And that has worked reasonably well. You know, there are limits to what you can really do with one of these small loop antennas. I mean, they're not any kind of a magic bullet. It's an antenna you use when you don't have a lot of space for a larger antenna. But I don't know, I've picked up, you know, 50 some countries and all 50 states and all of that, and done some casual contesting, QSO parties, those sorts of things with this. And as I was putting together the second video where I talk about the vacuum variable capacitor and the motor system, I'd been looking at stuff online about using stepper motors to be able to more precisely tune the antenna, and in particular to be able to maybe precisely tune the antenna enough not to have to use some kind of antenna analyzer all the time to make sure that I'm properly tuned. It's kind of a pain because you've got to switch back and forth between seeing how well your antenna is tuned and then going back and going back to your transmitting and all of that. And there are some rather complicated projects online that let you do this and even have some measure of automatic tuning. And in fact, there's one particular system that a person has built where it will take the frequency information from your rig, and it will automatically tune the antenna as you change frequencies on your transceiver. Now, that was more complicated than I wanted to do, but I'm still working on a system where I'm using a stepper motor to see if I can come up with a reasonably simple system that still works reasonably well and makes it much easier to switch from one frequency to another or one band from another. But I've ran into a few snags there. First of all, I started using this stepper motor. It's turned out I don't think it's quite powerful enough, so I got a bigger one. Hopefully that's going to work a little better. I was finding some problems with making sure that it would fully turn the fully turn this capacitor knob at all positions. They would get kind of stuck at some positions. Now, the other downside here, of course, if you're going to use a stepper motor, is that you need to have some way of controlling that. And so here's my little test setup I have here. I have a little micro-stepping driver. These stepper motors generally have 200 steps per revolution, which is not nearly precise enough for this project. So you can buy these inexpensive drivers that will take care of micro-stepping, so you can have you know, 4 or 8 or 16 or 32 times as many microsteps as steps, so you can get very precise tuning that way. And then you have an Arduino, and you have to put together a little bit of code for that, so that you basically tell the send signals to the microstep driver, so that it will move the motor properly. And this has added another level of complexity, and I'm kind of stuck right now between the two. I could go ahead and finish my series of videos with the old, just regular continuous motor, which again works okay. But now that I've been experimenting with the stepper motors, I'm kind of I'm trying to figure out whether I should complete the series with that or not. So anyway, that's why this hasn't been haven't been updating this, just because I'm a little bit stuck on that. And the other thing that I've decided to do here is, because of having a bigger motor in here and some other changes, I decided to kind of change how I'm mounting everything and use some different project boxes that have more room, but that means I got to start that from scratch. And so I think at the very least, I'm going to kind of give a more detailed how-to on putting all this together. Hopefully I can get that, start getting that together fairly soon, so I can continue this series. I've got all the stuff I need. I just need to put it all together. So that's the status of this project right now. Again, I hope to get more videos up on this fairly soon. So if you're trying magnetic loops, have fun with that, and 7-3.